Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight I get an unexpected surprise. I log in today and the Tier 7 Schill has been credited to my account. Thank you to Wargaming for loaning me a ship. Now, what is the Schill? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's jump straight in and take a look at our commander first. Anyway, we're running Carl von Mahler. We've got Francesco Membelli and Norman Scott as our inspirations. We've got Beyond Range, Igniter, Punch Through, and Fixated with Fully Packed as our commander skills. For the build itself, we are running Aiming Systems Mod 1. We are running steering gears. I know some people probably going to argue with this, but trust me, steering gears I think is the better bet here. Okay? Just due to the fact that, like, as a cruiser that only has two guns and one is at the front, one is at the back, you're probably going to want to use those more often. So you're going to want to be able to turn. All right? You don't want a battleship steering rudder shift when you're trying to get these turns off. Also, it helps when it comes to torpedoes. So you can choose propulsion mod if you like. But I highly recommend having some sort of steering gears. It's either this or the concealment. Let's be honest, concealment's way more useful than propulsion. Just throwing that out there. But anyway, concealment system mod, obviously, and then we are running the main battery mod 3. Okay? This is going to slow your traverse speed down a little bit, but trust me, the traverse on these guns isn't so bad, so you don't mind it nearly as much as some other ships. And it's the epic mod, meaning the more damage we get, the faster our guns reload. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's take a look at what this thing can offer. Well, it's got extended range, long duration sonar. Much to be expected out of a German cruiser, I suppose. But, yeah, 5.6 kilometer detectability for 118 seconds. Yep. Destroyers beware. Main battery reload booster, because why not? Let's throw that in there for good measures. It lasts 20 seconds. Yeah, 20 seconds. And it reduces your reload by half. Well, you'll see why that's pretty funny when you get to it. But you get 3 of those because we have fully packed on. And then, of course, it's got the heals. But, you know, it's a heal. It's not an amazing heal, but it is a heal. So you gotta love it. We're running the camo that comes with the ship, and of course we're running the Italian Unity flag, which, if you squint just right, kind of reminds you of a Spartan helmet, right? Anyway, survivability, 52,400 hit points with a 13% damage reduction on torpedoes. So don't take torpedoes, they hurt. Ask me how I know. Main battery guns. You got 283 millimeter 54 caliber, well, 54.5 caliber DRH LC-34s, which I believe is the year that they were made. 34? I could be wrong. I forget how the Germans do their thing. Obviously, we've got the length of the barrel, which is the L, 54.5, so that's the caliber of the barrel. So 283L, 54.5. And then, of course, the DRH LC-34, I think, is the year that they were brought, or the guns were made. Anyway, I could be wrong. Somebody out there is a better historian than me, probably knows. All right, so we have 2 3-barrel 283 millimeter guns. Where have I heard that before? Oh yes, it's a Tier 7 Graf Spee. Only it's better in every way, as it should be for Tier 7, and it's premium also, as Graf Spee was. But oh my God, they went ham with this one. All right. I love the Graf Spee, for the record. I don't play it because I don't really play Tier 5 a lot, and when I do, I tend to play American battleships or the Queen Elizabeth or something along those lines. But this thing is spicy, all right? So you got a 180-degree turn time, and that's with the debuff of 23.5 seconds, so you don't mind that nearly as much. The reload starts at 15.4 seconds and gets better as you deal damage, so pretty solid there, can't really complain. HE shell maximum damage 3,200 with a 23% chance to set fires, pretty solid. AP shell damage is 9,240. Not the highest, but again, it's a cruiser. It's got Graf Spee Scharnhorst guns. It's not supposed to have 15,000 damage per shell, right? Secondaries is actually a little bit spicy. I ain't gonna lie. I have not put anything into building the secondaries on this thing, and they still reach out to 6.3 kilometers, which is pretty nice. This is the Graf Spee on crack. All right, that's what I'm trying to say. And it is better in every way feasible. And it's a tier 7, meaning you're going to get that premium bonus that tier 7 ships currently get. And there is going to be a credit earner, folks. Let me explain. So, they reach out 6.3 kilometers, reloaded 3.3 seconds. HE shell maximum damage 1200, 8% chance to set fires. Secondary 150mm guns. You get the 6 of those, reaching out 6.3 kilometers, reloading at 7.5 seconds, and firing HE with a maximum shell damage of 1700 with an 11% chance to set fire. But then you got the torpedoes on either side, and they went ahead and spiced those right up too. They're like, torpedoes! Yeah, Graf Spee has those. Let's make them better. All right, so you get 2 quad launchers, one on either side of the ship. Nothing new there. They do 13,700 damage. They reload in 90 seconds. But they reach out to 10 kilometers and do 64 knots. You can't really argue with that. That's pretty solid. I'll take it. AA damage. Let's just look at the AA. I mean, it's German. It's probably not going to lot, but we'll look at it. 20mm Flak Zwilling 38. You get 20 of those doing 42 damage per second, but only out to 2 kilometers. 20mm Flak Vierling 38. You get 32 of those doing 48 damage per second, reaching out to just 2 kilometers. Then you have the 37mm Flak Zwilling 30s. You get 8 of those doing 10 damage per second, reaching out to 3.5 kilometers. And then the 105mm L65 Doppel C38 dual purpose secondaries. You get 12 of those doing 100 damage per second, reaching out to just 4.5 kilometers. You don't have AA. All right? I don't care what the little stupid number up there at the top says 62. No, it's terrible. Don't expect anything from your AA. All right? Maneuverability, 33.6 knots of top speed currently with this build. 760-meter turning circle, and a 9.9 second rudder shift. Now, I'm sure there are certain people that have just come back to the game that will try to get this rudder shift down to like 4 seconds. And more power to you if you want to try that. But for me, under 10 seconds is fine. Gets me out of most situations. I'm a battleship captain, and this thing is essentially a small battleship. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy this thing. I know you're going to see the amount of games that I've played and laugh when I say I enjoy this thing. But trust me, when you see the game that I just had, you guys are going to be laughing too. Okay? Detectability by sea is 11.7. Detectability by air is 7.4. Guaranteed is always 2. And detectability while firing in smoke is 9.8, which is surprisingly good. I mean, these are 283mm guns. So, time to show you guys the statistics of the only game that I've played in this thing and why I think that this thing is a little bit spicy and why I think that you guys will agree with me. So we've played one game, we've won one game, or one ship, or one. We've played one game, we've won one game. We've got a 50% torpedo accuracy and 64% main gun accuracy. Warships destroyed, 3. Average damage is 158. 3K base average, not too bad. And a potential damage of 1.4 million. All right? So, what does this mean? This is the Graf Spee on crack, and if you guys remember back in the day, some of you guys haven't been around long enough, but some of you have. If you remember when the Graf Spee first came out, I said play it like you stole it, right? It is not a ship where you want to sit back and try to snipe and do all this fancy stuff. It is a ship that is designed to destroy everything in its path before it has a chance to get out the way. One of the downsides of the Graf Spee, it was 6-kilometer torpedo range, which is usual for most of the Germans, okay? If you have torpedoes, generally they only reach out 6 kilometers. It's their nerf, right? That's their unique, unrelenting nerf. But they had also had one other thing that was against it in the Graf Spee, and that was the fact that it had very weak bow armor, meaning it could overmatch itself, meaning it could be overmatched by every battleship in the game. Which meant, when you were closing in, generally speaking, it was like a yellow Emilio. You would go in, try to find 2 people, one on either side, and you would go straight at them and try to torp the out of them before they killed you. That was the whole purpose of it, right? This ship has gotten rid of all of that. Let me show you. We've got a 27mm bow, which is absurd. But not just that, we have a 30mm extended belt that takes up almost the entire belt. So it's basically got a 30mm bow. Why is that important? Nothing except Georgia overmatches this thing at tier 7. I repeat, nothing, well, okay, I lied. Musashi at tier 8 technically exists, so it would overmatch you as well, okay? But other than that, nothing but Georgia overmatches you at tier 7. And if you go up against tier 6s, holy crap, good luck. Those fellas are going to be like, oh, look, it's a Graf Spee. And they're going to be like, oh my god, it's a Graf Spee on crack. That's what this ship is. And don't worry, it goes the entire way, right? Well, you don't have 30mm the entire way, but you still have a 27mm rear stern plating. Meaning nothing 15 inches or below overmatches it. Meaning you can do some stupid stuff, especially to German battleships. Foreshadowing? We'll find out. Alright, but let's move on. You guys have seen that. Look at that spicy turtleback. This spicy turtleback. Alright, that ain't your normal cruiser spicy turtleback. That's a spicy turtleback. But it is still a cruiser at the end of the day. Meaning that if you go broadside, you don't have the hit points to take those hits, even if you don't get Citadel. Which you still can be Citadel, but even if you don't get Citadel, you still don't have the hit points to take those kind of hits. So you want to try to limit that as much as possible. The Citadel itself, front gun to rear gun, nothing unusual there. You can go through the bow side plating, but given the fact that it's 30mm, you better make sure that you've got enough pin angles to get through that. And it's a very narrow ship, for the most part, at the front. So even if you do go through the bow side plating, there's a good chance you're going to overpin. So, yeah. This ship is spicy, all right? I know there's going to be people out there yelling at me, Spartan, you're just excited. You had one good game. I've played the Graf Spee a lot, all right? I know how to play this ship before it even got here. And this ship is even better in every conceivable way. So, trust me, this ship's spicy. Tough, above average base HP rating. Extended sonar. Sonar range or duration is increased. I'm sorry. I'm excited. This is a fun ship. Big and flammable. Fire set on this ship lasts longer due to her large size and high caliber guns. Well, I mean, there's the downside. Good lord. Thank God you got heals. Schill. In the late 1930s, the leaders of the German Navy developed a project that was intended for use as part of a naval blockade of Great Britain by raider formations. 12 P-class ships, developed from the Deutschland-class ironclad project, were supposed to act as a main strike force in this plan. In 1939, contracts were signed with dockyards for the construction of these ships, but the order was subsequently canceled in favor of O-class battleships. The original documentation labeled the ship class as Handelsschüler. Handelsschüler. Or just Raider. Raider sounds good to me. I apologize to you Germans out there. Lord have mercy. I don't have to say it. 1939 was when she was designed. Now, we know the Graf Spee existed, but I don't know if this thing ever did. Obviously, it doesn't say that it was in the series, but look at this thing, all right? It's not as beautiful as a lot of German ships, okay? Let's just throw that out there. It's an earlier design, so it's not as nice as some of the German ships. However, once you get past that, this thing is a monster, and if anybody decides you need to go, more often than not, they are the one that's going to be going. With an express ticket to hell, all right? So, with that being said, let's take a look at her. We'll do our little flyby, and then we'll get in and get to the gameplay, because I ain't gonna lie, this is fun, all right? And I'll be honest, it's been a while since we've had just, like, a raw, fun ship. Yeah, she's spicy. She's a little overtuned. She might get a nerf at some point, but then again, Wargaming hasn't been nerfing crap lately, so she might just stick around in this current formation for a while. So, yeah, with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, somebody better call the law, because this one is going to be a murder. Alright? I don't want to put this any other way. Y'all have already seen the average stats for one battle, so you know what to expect, right? What you don't understand is that the enemy thought that I was alone, and that meant that I was weak. They were wrong. We're gonna make these guys look like absolute morons. And I apologize if you're on the enemy team and you just happened to be in the first game and decide that I needed to go, because Lord have mercy, you were about to be embarrassed live and in front of hundreds and thousands of people. Alright? So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. This one is gonna be fun. Now, you guys know that I actually like the Graf Spee, always have. It's a great ship. Now, one of the things you do lose at Tier 7 versus Tier 5 is that you no longer overmatch all the cruisers at the tier. Most of the cruisers, in fact, have 25 to 27 millimeters of armor plating, meaning they don't get overmatched by you. So you've got to keep that in mind, right? Some of them have 30, like the Edinburgh, but the Bortos, that stuff has 30 millimeters of armor, so that doesn't even get overmatched. But the fact that they gave this thing a 27 millimeter bow and stern and a 30 millimeter extended belt that basically covers the entire front of the ship is absurd. Because this thing's entire purpose for existing is to destroy anything that decides to get too close. And they gave it 10-kilometer torpedoes, just in case you want to do aerial denial torpedo. But right off the bat, we forgot to load up AP, so we're going to take the shot at the Nagato, and then we're going to load up AP because, you know, that's what you do. But you do want to be shooting AP out of this most of the time, right? But I also want you guys to pay attention to the fact that there's a Torpedoes coming. It's Torpedoes B. We have the Nagato that's already been spotted, and there is one other ship that was not spotted that is over there. Okay, another battleship. So I'm going to go up against 3 battleships and 2 destroyers on this side of the map. Essentially solo. Let's see how this goes for them. Now you can see I dropped torpedoes there because I'm trying to zone torpedo. I know the Torpedoes isn't coming through. He's going to go in front, but there's a destroyer out there. And we go ahead and use our beautiful little, whatchamacallit. We use our sonar here. Remember, extended range sonar. We've got them within 5.5 kilometers, so we're going to go ahead. We've got them lit up. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to this Sasashio. He's clearly spotted, and yet he refuses to use his guns. We just took half the health off of the Udachi. The main guns are going, or the secondary guns are going ham. They're not the most accurate, but we didn't even build into secondaries. Keep that in mind. None of our secondaries, like, we have not built anything into secondaries. But you can see I am going to try to hit him one more time here. He does turn away, gets away. If this goofball in the Asashio had been using his guns, that Udachi'd be dead right now. And I want you to remember that for later. But Flaunder decides he wants to challenge me in the Thunderdome. And so I'm like, alright, I see how you do, and we're going to come out here and we're going to show you just what's what. So Flaunder, he's pushing in. He's a secondary build. The Torpedoes behind me is a secondary build. So we're in a little bit of a predicament. But as we get a good shot here, we go straight through the side plating, get 3 hits, and that's one thing that you can say about this ship is that it is accurate, okay? Just because you have 6 guns, normally you're like, oh, it's not going to be that accurate. This thing is pretty accurate, alright? So you don't have to worry. Unfortunately, Flaunder is going to slow down a little bit, which means I launched those torpedoes a little bit early. A fact that I will not repeat in the rest of this match. But as Flaunder comes out, he does take 1 torpedo. He also runs into the torpedoes of our Asasio and takes, I believe, 1. Nope, never mind. He didn't take a torpedo there. But he is on fire, and we have got a flood going, and we get the shot into him. And is he going to eat a torpedo? Nope, he dodged another set of torpedoes. Asashio is 0 for 2. And then we finish him off. So that was basically all me there. And then the Nagato decides he wants to enter the Thunderdome. Now keep in mind, there's a Torpedoes still behind me. But this Torpedoes is too busy just sitting there letting his secondaries eat, so he's not interested in actually being useful to his team. And so, while that's all going on, I'm just going to go ahead and YOLO rush this Nagato. He has nothing he can do to me. If I can manage to get this thing turned in and go bow in as I'm coming around the corner so that he doesn't have an easy shot into the side plating, like, he's screwed. He has no chance. Even if he does shoot me with AP, he can't damage me. He'll just auto-bounce off of everything. So as we come around this corner, you may have noticed he's already fired his guns. So we have even less to worry about. So we are able to come around the corner and absolutely yeet this man. You can see he's starting to speed up. So we're just going to go ahead and fire those torpedoes out ahead of him. And that was a beautifully executed torpedo strike. Down goes the Nagato. We go ahead, use one of our 3 heals, and we are back ready to fight again. And suddenly the Tirpitz has grown a pair. He's like, you know what? I've watched this guy take out 2 separate battleships in 1v1 situations. Let me go try my hand, because I'm a Tirpitz, okay? I'm a Bismarck-class battleship with torpedoes and a secondary build. This piddly little cruiser can't handle me. Foreshadowing. You guys know how much I love to beat up on Bismarcks and Tirpitzes. You guys know it. And you already know when I'm in a ship, especially even a cruiser that doesn't get overmatched by them, they have no chance. There's never been a chance. The only chance this man has is when I go in for my torp strike that he manages to hit me with torps back. That is his only chance. That is it. He has no chance to use his guns. He has no chance to use anything but torpedoes to kill me. Because if he uses his guns, he's going to be embarrassed. And if he doesn't use his guns and he tries to torp, you can see I was actually thinking about it. And then I was like, no. #1 rule of German battleships with torpedoes. And yes, that applies here because this is a battleship, in my opinion. But anyway, the #1 rule when you have torpedoes is you don't use them too early. Okay? You hear those shatters and plinks? The plinks? Yeah. Yeah, welcome to the Thunderdome, bitch. And wait for it. You're not going to be able to turn back now. Enjoy! Hope you get your torpedoes away. Bonk, 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 bonk. That should have been our second death strike, let's be honest. I got robbed. But we get a shot through, 5 hits out of 6 on the destroyer. You can see I'm actually going to use my priority target to target the lower health destroyer of the 2. Fortunately, Scharnhorst actually takes him out, but now I've got about a gajillion torpedoes to try to dodge, and unfortunately I'm going to over-rotate here, and the Yudachi ended up torping backwards. But again, had that freaking destroyer been shooting him when I had him lit up, the Yudachi wouldn't have been around to kill me there. But it doesn't matter because 158,000 damage, 3 kills, what should have been 2 dev strikes against tier 7 competition, other than the Nagato. Like, what more can you ask for out of a cruiser? She's quick, she's got agility if you want to go that route, she's tanky as all get out, and she's fun. This ship is worth it, in my opinion. I don't know what I gotta go through to get this ship unlocked, but this is only loaned to us for 2 weeks, so I've got to unlock this the old-fashioned way through the new, what do you call it, the crafting station. So we gotta go into the store, go into the crafting station, and figure out what I have to do in order to make this thing a reality, because this thing's coming home with me. I'm just saying, after what I've just played, this ship is coming home with me. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed this first look. And again, I know it's a small sample size, but I've played enough games in this game to understand what is good, what is bad, and I'm telling you, this thing is spicy. Alright? This thing is spicy. It all depends on your playstyle, but you guys know I like to be super aggressive, including being aggressive in the Graf Spee, and this is literally a Graf Spee on crack. So, I'll let you guys make your decisions of what you want or what you don't want, but at the end of the day, I think that you're going to have a hard time being disappointed with this thing. I'm just saying, you're not going to be disappointed if you enjoy playing aggressive, especially if you enjoy being aggressive against battleship captains who don't understand the basics of the game. This thing is fun. This thing really is. So, yeah, I will definitely be picking this one up. Whatever I gotta do to go through the crafting station to get this thing, it's coming home with me. But watch what this Asashio does. This is picture perfect. Why this Asashio let me get killed on the right flank anyway. This guy has no hit points. All he has to do is shoot him one time, he dies. But instead, he's like, oh, I gotta use my torpedoes. Torpedoes, man. And then he missed. He missed with his guns. How? How do you miss somebody that's backing up to you? But no. Anyway, 158,000 damage, high caliber, single dev strike, should have been 2. Top of the leaderboard, 3k base XP. You guys let me know what you guys think. Do you think this thing is a little bit too spicy? I do. And I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts. So, if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.